In the original version, Jeremy Irons and Whoopi Goldberg played Scar and Shenzi. Were reference for you and or was it a challenge? Because there are a lot of nostalgia with this film.
You want to start?
Okay. Well, I take my information from the script, and every script, I don't say we change the story, but it is different because the language that I use or get to speak in this one was different. So I realized right from the beginning that this is a very more dangerous character, more character that you have to take really, really serious. And therefore, I always am happy when I hear the old version and the hyenas are very light. Whoopi Goldberg makes me laugh because she's just so funny.
Yeah.
But in this version, the hyenas are not funny. I don't find Shenzi funny at all. And that was the big difference. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I feel I love the original, you know, and I love Jeremy Irons and you know, and so it was really exciting to be able to sort of even just see if there was any room in all of that, you know, in all of that sort of genius and brilliance, you know, just to kind of express something, you know, that was maybe, you know, just a bit more from me and a bit more like, so naturally a little different, you know. So I ended up just looking at it in terms of what I was really curious about in terms of Scar, and I was very curious about the psychology of Scar, and I was curious about that relationship to power and status and what that does to somebody who's obsessed with those things or addicted to those things, and how that then can lead to these terrible, horrible choices and decisions, but feeling sort of justified within themselves, and allowed me to have like some sort of empathetic ideas, you know, not sympathetic, but like sort of empathy with what was going on for him. And then within the context of what Jon Favreau was doing, and all of this kind of realism, you know, and the look of it, I just thought was really a sort of interesting overall thing.
Chiwetel, you play very Shakespearean roles in theatre. Have you used your Shakespearean experience for this film?
I don't know, yeah. My Shakespearean experience is, well, I feel that, yeah, this part and these characters are very classic, you know, in their own way. And so, and the film, you know, Lion King, you know, obviously is based in some degree on Hamlet, and not just Hamlet, but, you know, obviously, and then a few other Shakespeares as well. You know, there's Henry IV Part 1, for example, and of course Macbeth. And I think that, you know, with Scar and exactly that kind of obsessional quality about power, you know, is very much like Macbeth in some ways. And so I was very curious about looking at it from that, you know, definitely sort of classical perspective and that sort of classic villain. Yeah.
Okay. The Lion King has a very diverse voice casting. Both you have projects with Disney and Marvel. Is Disney really committed with diversity? Is example?
I think so, because like the last movies that are coming out and the ones that are going to be out in the next years, I'm so excited to see all these different strong characters, the lead characters. And to be honest, I can relate to them, and I think it's important to be able to see yourself on screen. And it doesn't matter whether we are talking about movies or cartoons or whatever. The movies that they produce, I think they include everyone, and that is important. I have seen movies from Disney since I was younger, and I always liked the fact that everyone was portrayed. That's nice.
You agree?
I 100% agree. Yeah, I think that that it is very important to have to see yourself, exactly, to see yourself portrayed on screen, and it's important for everybody to have that kind of experience. And so, you know, I've you know gone through, you know, I've lived through all of that sort of transition in a way, from some of the when I was much younger, watching, you know, programs and watching films, and that just did not have any diversity at all. And that was very normal for a long period of time. And in fact, it was People were vilified when they try to expand that concept and to have any diversity, and people were very judgmental about that, and so the push and the struggle to have representation on screen continues, and it is incredibly beneficial for every member of a society to be able to see themselves represented in these kinds of mediums.